Hi everyone. This morning I woke up. I have so many ideas that I want to write about, blog about, post about, talk about. It was like 7 in the morning and I'm like, oh gosh, I could like probably do 3 or 4 lives right now. Felt like it was too early in the morning. So here I am. I'm gonna, I think, do this is one of two, and they're separate topics, so I'll break them up. So this one is going to be on triggers. How we get, maybe not how, but what happens when we get triggered emotionally. It's more emotionally triggered. Yeah, I'm just going to kind of stream of consciousness share with you. So what happens and how can you take something that is slightly triggering, mildly, medium, highly triggering, and how with time and awareness and some presence, your presence, how can you turn an uncomfortable situation? That's what I mean by a trigger. When somebody says something that feels uncomfortable to you, how can you take that and turn it into gold? I learned this many years ago, and I still it still comes up every day when I say I learned it. I learned the technique. I learned the skills, and I implement and incorporate them. Not every single day, but often, often enough. Okay, so much to say. Now, back in 2020 and 2021, when I look back at my Facebook Lives, which I've archived, I mean, I'm telling you, most of the lives I did were on triggers. There was a lot going on, obviously, back then globally, and there was a lot of fear and a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, I don't have to remind anyone. We all went through it. Every single person on the planet went through it. So lots of triggers. What do you do with them? How do you handle them? How does it feel in your body? That to me was like the biggest thing is like I heard something or I read something and then I was like, whoosh, so much emotion. So much emotion. Good, positive, sometimes not so good, sometimes anger, sometimes I was like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. And because I've been doing this work for so long and I've had really good teachers, I could separate like I don't like what I heard or I don't like what I read, and I could separate that from I don't like the person that said it. Absolutely, it could be like I could separate. Now, did it bleed in a little sometimes? Sure. Absolutely. But I'm like, okay, this is somebody's opinion. This is their viewpoint. I can be triggered by the comment, whether it's written or verbal, and I can make that separate from the person it's coming from. 100%. Because we're all growing and changing. So if somebody says something to me today, then tomorrow they might just have like a total flip of that whole conversation in their mind may have flipped, right? Like, okay, I don't like anchovies. Hate anchovies. Oh my God, I hate anchovies. Okay, you hate anchovies. Well, maybe tomorrow you like anchovies. I don't know. Maybe there's a shift, right? So we're changing all the time. So to get for me, I'll use myself as an example, to get very upset at the person that, like, if I don't like anchovies, but somebody else does, let's say it like that. Hold on. No, somebody loves anchovies. My friend. My friend Jill loves anchovies. I don't. So am I going to be mad at Jill because she loves them? No. I can just say, oh, I don't really like how they taste. No, it doesn't do anything for me. I can separate them. And this is like, it may sound like a silly example. That's a trigger for some people. If they get that activated, like, now I, now I really don't like Jill because she likes anchovies. And I don't. I didn't think I'd be talking about anchovies this morning. Okay, so, but that's a trigger. Or this used to happen to me when I was younger. I'd be like walking down the street and, I tend to have a smile on my face when I'm just out in general, just a gentle smile, say hello to people, be walking down the street, me coming this way and they're coming towards me, and there's a smile, and then all of a sudden, like, their face would change when they saw me. This used to happen to me all the time, like in my 20s and 30s. It was really interesting. Either people would say hi and smile back, or I'd have the, ooh. I was like, what the heck? I don't know this person. I tried to say hello. They didn't say hello. And then their face got all like distorted. Like, okay, so there was something about me that they didn't know me, but they didn't like. Now, I knew after this happened multiple times. I mean, when I was younger and it happened, I didn't understand. Once I started studying energy, I was like, oh, interesting. There's something about me that reminds them of someone else that maybe they don't like, or maybe that maybe was a friend or an aunt or something, and now there's been like a schism in the relationship. So when I'm walking down the street, I remember this happening in like Arlington, and somebody's face just was like, ugh, right? I was like, oh, I just remind them of someone. It could have been my hair color or my hairstyle. It could have been my makeup. It could have been the dress or the jacket or the shoes I wore. It could have been the way I walked that triggered something for somebody. It's so many things. How do I know? I just walked by them. We were like in each other's presence for about 10 seconds. How do I know what triggered them? How do I know that as they're walking down the street, they're not processing something else completely separate from looking at me, and they had some a sadness came over them? I don't know that, right? We're triggered all the time, including myself. So, hi Mark, I see you here. Yep, exactly. Yeah, I believe that. I know that people are mirrors for me, and I'm mirrors for others. And some of us are bigger mirrors for each other. For sure. I have a friend, and she mirrors back to people a lot. And boy, they come at her with, you said this and you did this. And she's like, no, I didn't, but that's what you heard. So see, she's bringing something to light for them to look at. This is what I mean by this is gold, and it's a gift. If you can dig, I'm going to get there. If you can dig into what's really going on, because it's not the person, it's like the message almost. So if you can go, this feels uncomfortable. I don't like this. That's okay. Feel it. Feel it. Why don't I like this? Why is this uncomfortable? Most importantly, what is this reminding me of? This is bringing you back to something, a past experience, a past exchange with someone. It could be very early on in your childhood. It could be so early that you were at the stage where you weren't even verbal yet. It could be like newborn stuff where they're feeling everything, but they can't like process and all of that. So these things can go really far back. And that's why the trigger happens like this sometimes. It's like, boom, you see somebody that's wearing something blue. Maybe you had a really bad breakup with somebody, a boyfriend or girlfriend that you really loved. And when they broke up with you, they were wearing blue. And now when you see blue, like unconsciously, when anyone wears it, just in the back of your brain, back. And sometimes it comes to the surface. You're like, ugh, blue. Oh, whoever's wearing blue, I don't like what they're going to say, because there's that memory of the breakup. This is just an example. I had taken a course many years ago. It was a beautiful course. It was like 6 weeks or 8 weeks. It was like every Sunday. I was going to a Unity church, and there was this beautiful course, and I took it several times. It was free. It was just amazing, and it was a lot about this stuff. And I want to share a story about the instructor. She shared this story, and I could relate like 1,000% to what she said. And it's, I've never forgotten it because I've had similar experiences. So in our class, and this class would would call in like 20 to 30 people. It was, when I say like popular, it was really, really good. So it would call in 20 to 30 people. And so so there was a gentleman in the class, and I forget his name, but I can see his face, and he was super tall man. As so the teacher's teaching, she's teaching from the workbook, she had slides, and then there was an opportunity for her to give an example based off of what we were learning in that moment. And she points, and this man was her friend. She points to the guy. I don't remember his name, but whatever. What should I call him? What fun name? I like choosing fun names. Jesse? All right, let's call him Jesse. So she points to Jesse and says, we were in a social setting, and Jesse said something to me. And she goes, and in that moment, my face just went like this. He said whatever he said, which was kind of a neutral thing to say. And her face squished up, and she got angry. She got upset. And because she's been doing this work, also, she goes, ooh. She goes, ooh. I might have said something back at him. Like, she might have, responded, right? But then she probably went home and said, oh, gosh. He made a comment, or whatever he said reminded me of something my mother used to say to me that used to bother her. Maybe it was something unkind or maybe slightly judgmental. I don't remember the exact, she did share with us what it was, but I don't remember at this point. So she said, whatever Jesse said reminded me and triggered me about what my mom said and how I felt small and how I didn't feel empowered. So, but she said, but I came back at him. Like I was like ready to give it right back to him. And because they were friends, he knew that he, first of all, didn't mean it the way she heard it. And they had a discussion and they worked it out. And it helped her to go, oh yeah, that had nothing to do with what Jesse said. It had all to do with what my mom said to me and how I interpreted it. And then we do all these things of like, we create a limiting belief. We just start to think differently of ourselves. Maybe not in alignment with our highest good. We create these patterns. And then guess what, guys? Then we start to attract the very thing we don't want, because now it's so charged in our field, even when it's unconscious and in the subconscious, it's still in the field and it's still a pattern. Okay, so what do? You sit with it. You sit with it and you explore. And you might journal. Why did this bother me? And a really good thing to do is you get an answer and then you go, okay, more, but why? Okay, you write that next sentence because it reminded me of mom. But why? Because when she said this, I felt this. But why? You keep going. You just keep hitting all those layers. You want to get down to the core of it. You want to get down. It could be 3 layers. It could be 15. Just keep going. Keep going. The more you keep going and digging into those layers, you will eventually hit that neutral spot where there's no trigger, where it feels neutral and soft. And you're like, huh, well, that's pretty wild, right? Like the color blue, back to that example, that color blue when somebody broke up with me, now I can look at that color differently. I'll share a personal story. I was dating a guy and he lived in Connecticut. And when things ended, it wasn't long and it wasn't it wasn't a long thing, but whatever. It was, it was fun. And it was meaningful to me. And then it ended. And because he lived in Connecticut and I had gone down to visit him several times. So now I'm in Massachusetts, and every time I saw a Connecticut license plate, I would get really sad. I'd get sad, I'd get mad, I'd get sad again. Well, this went on for a while because I had some unprocessed feelings about the whole thing, right? All of my feelings that I didn't express. And every time I saw a Connecticut license plate, I was sad, mad, mostly sad, mostly sad. Yeah, eventually that stopped. Like, I was able to work through it, and now I can look at a Connecticut license plate and I'm like, I have a big smile on my face, and not because it's attached to this person, but because I think the state is so beautiful. I think it's just such a lovely state. So I'm not triggered, right? But I had to do the work. And I didn't force it. It was like if I saw the license plate and I felt sad, I allowed myself to feel sad. I wasn't like, just get over it, just move on, just who cares? Who cares? Well, yeah, you can say that. And that's great. I couldn't shift out of it by doing that kind of talk. I had to feel it. I had to feel it. And I don't know how long it took, but it took however long it took. And that's okay. So I just want to share that with you. I think maybe the last example I'll share is I posted something in a group over the weekend. And this is something that I posted on my personal page. And I got people to like respond favorably to it. And when I posted it in the group, it really ruffled feathers. Not everybody, but it was a spiritual thing, and it was on prosperity, but it triggered folks. And some people were really, I'm kind of new to the group. Some people were so lovely. They were like, I don't really get this perspective. Do you mind sharing what this means to you? Or, somebody said, I've never heard this before. Like, can you explain more? So I did. And then there were the people that were like, this reminds me of this, and this doesn't feel good. And I responded to everyone, because everyone's opinion is valid. Oh my gosh, like you read something and it feels like this to you. Of course, I'm going to be like, thanks for reading it and thanks for taking the time to respond, even if you don't agree with it. Even if you don't agree, you don't have to. I didn't write it. I'm sharing it because I'm on a journey of shifting my prosperity and my abundance consciousness. And, for anybody that has been watching my page, every day I do a quote from, I have 3 books that are helping to change my money mindset. So I'm writing, read, I might journal, and then I share the quote because I'm like, oh, why not share this with people? They might find some value in it. So anyway, back, there were 2 or 3 people that really were upset and not happy. It's fine. Now, normally it triggered me. Okay, so here's a person I'll use the word triggered. Then I got triggered. You see how this happens? You see how it's like, and then, obviously this is how conflicts happen, and misunderstandings, and bum, 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 bum. We get all the way to like war, people at war with each other because they don't sit down and talk. And I know that's, it takes a long journey to get there. But what was important to me is, and it wasn't so much, I noticed what people were upset, but I was like, okay, I'm triggered. Hi, Erica. Morning. Yes, I saw your comment, Mark. Cool. So thank you. I appreciate that. I got triggered. So then I was like, all right, now I got to go in here. Why am I triggered? Right? Because I knew. Now, I wasn't angry, but and I wrote this to somebody. I said, ooh, this is so like juicy. I'm like, somebody didn't like it. Then what is that activating in me? Well, what's activating in me is my brain just goes like from 0 to 100. Okay, I'm going to just share with you what happened. I was like, oh, they don't like me. I went from they don't like what I wrote, and it didn't feel good to them, to, oh, they don't like me. Oh, people don't like me. Oh, it hit my like worthiness stuff. It hit my people pleasing. Everybody has to like me. And I sat with it. I was like, first of all, let me just say, I don't know that they thought we don't like Anastasia. They never said that. I'm projecting that. I'm like going way far into the future. I have no idea. So let's take that off the table. But I felt like, ooh, I felt they don't like me because they didn't like what I posted. Okay. So now I'm looking at that. Like, why does that bother me? Where is that hitting in me from like a past experience of everybody has to like me? Everybody has to approve of me. Everybody has to validate what I think or feel or say. No, guys, this is my story, but you see, like, when I can look at it and sort of from, I'm not in it, but I can like be the observer. Do you see how silly that is? And I'm making fun of myself, but these are all beliefs that I've made up from something that happened to me way long ago. Right? Like, when was I really little? When was the first time I was really little and I felt not approved of, not validated, not loved, not liked? I got to go back and dig, because every situation that comes up that reminds me of that is really just going back to that core thing that happened. It's going back to the core. It's not the new person in front of me making that statement that makes me feel uncomfortable. It's the history. It's all the things that happened, but from the first time. So the first time it happens and it lands and it goes, and then we think, well, I'm unlovable. I'm unlikable. First of all, that's not true, but that sometimes gets lodged. So we've got the first thing, and then more stuff happens and we go, oh see, we start to collect evidence for the thing that's not true. This is something I'm working on. I start to collect evidence for people are bad, or people don't like me, or nothing ever goes my way. I've had that thought. Nothing. Oh, see, nothing ever goes my way. Well, now I'm going to collect evidence to put in my basket. Well, how about we just go, put the brakes on, put the brakes on. We can just go, all right, we'll deal with that. But let's also go, everything goes my way. How does everything go my way? And now I'm going to start to collect evidence for that. So that's like a quick tool that you can do to do the switch, is whatever it is. I'm unlovable. How am I lovable? Why am I lovable? You can do it as a question. You can do it as a statement. I am lovable, like an affirmation. You can do it as a question, because the question is going to invite, it's going to invite creativity. When you ask a question, how am I lovable? How am I lovable? Because I am. Because we all are. Again, how am I lovable? Because we're children of God, and we're created in love and for love and with love. So, you just keep at, how am I lovable? Like, for me, okay, I do want to say this. For me, living in the US, we can say, how am I lovable? And we're in the Northeast here, so it's do. So you might be tempted to have all of these, how am I lovable? Well, because I did this today. How am I lovable? Because I showed up and I helped somebody. How am I? It can be like, because you did something, but at the core, it's like, how am I lovable? It's because of who you are. It's because of your vibration. That's how you're lovable. It's the very core of you. It has nothing to do with you working for it or proving your, but it could be anything. How am I capable? You might be tempted to list all the things you're capable of. And that's fine. And that's the journey that you get. But at the end of the day, how am I capable? It's because you are inside. You're just vibrating that. You don't have to prove it. You don't have to prove you're capable or lovable or likable. Well, the only person I have to prove it to is myself, because I'm the one that doesn't believe it. I'm the one that needs, and it may not be that I have to prove it, but I have to shift that thought or belief about me. That's all. So, I did not plan all of these examples or exactly what I was going to say, but I think this is good. I think this is good. And like I said, I used to do, when I did lives like 3 or 4 years ago, it would be all on triggers, triggers. So if any of this, touched you in some way or resonated, and you can take it forward and sort of play with it in your world, great. If you're triggered at some point today or this week, just notice. That's the first and the most important thing, is just the awareness. Oh, that triggered me. I wonder why. Start to get curious. I wonder why. This work, that what I just shared with you, and I have no sense of how long I've been on, probably at least 20 minutes. This is work that has taken me years to do. And, it can be done like this. It can be done very quickly. And sometimes sometimes it can take a process. And it depends on how ready you are. It depends on, I think, how much you do it. For some people, this is very new. So it might be like, wow, this is hard. This is hard. And for some people, it's like, oh, that's easy. I knew a woman many years ago, a friend, and she can just switch like that. Like when she feels that she has a limiting belief that's not serving her, she's like that. Like if she's like, I'm not capable, like in her mind, because she's really, has worked a lot with the mind and the emotions and the body, she can go like kind of into higher self and source and be like, what? Where's that coming from? No, I am capable. I'm really capable. She switches over very quickly into affirmation and positivity and brings that in. Now, for me, I have to do the work to excavate and go back and release that, because over and over again for me, so this is how we're all different, but for me, I may just go, yeah, I can have that affirmation and get rid of it. Like with what happened over the weekend, I can go, okay, I feel like people don't like me, and then I can go, no, everybody likes me. Yeah, but that's not true. Not everybody does like us. That's just the truth. Not everybody resonates with us, right? So I could have gone, everybody, people don't like me, to everybody, or some people, but I needed to go back and go, all right, where's that hitting in my history? Where's that hitting in my core? Where's that hitting in my limiting belief stories? In my stories. They're stories. That's what they are. They're stories. And so why not make a good story up? If you had like not good stuff happen to you, if you've had like a tough time lately, why not make something else up? I'm very guilty of hashing the old stuff. Old. Seriously. And then I'm just in the old. I'm in the old. It's old shit for me. I'm in the old shit. And then I like create a pot of shit. And then I'm like swimming in it. It's like, ugh, get out. Like step out of that. Do a new story. Say a new story. Believe something new about yourself. Start to think a little differently. So, anyway, thanks, Mark. I'm wrapping up. Appreciate it. Appreciate you being here and your support. So I'm wrapping up. I think I'm going to come in and do just a separate, shorter live. But thank you, everybody, for watching. Any questions or comments? Drop them in the chat. It's been really nice sharing this with you all today. And yeah, thank you so much. Really, just appreciate the opportunity to share my journey, in the hopes that it will help others, in the hopes that it will bless you and create a shift. And this month is one of the biggest trigger months because of the holidays, because of getting together with family, friends, and all that. There's a lot of stuff that can come up for this stuff. So you can think of it as, oh, this is going to be hard. There's going to be a lot. I'm going to feel this and that and all that. Yes, and how about using this as an opportunity to shift? How about using this month as an opportunity to look for the gold, so you can dig in and do some really sweet healing for yourself, some real loving, giving yourself a lot of love this month. Okay? All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.